You are listening to High Heels and High Chairs, voted the best online resource for busy moms who wish to stay strong, sexy, and centered in a world of spit up and sippy cups. Whether you're a new mom, a grandmom, a future mom, or somewhere in between, you'll love these priceless tips, tricks, and tools you will learn today. Here is your host, top female fat loss and hormone specialist, Dr. Michelle Sands.
Hi there, and welcome back to High Heels and High Chairs, where we're talking about how to stay strong, sexy, and centered in a world of spit up and sippy cups. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Sands, and today I am delighted to have with me a very special guest. Bonnie Kelly is a woman who really stuck out when I met her last year at a conference. She is an emotional intelligence expert. She's a speaker, an author, and a coach. Bonnie really just lit up the room when she offered some unsolicited advice to people who are going through some issues in their businesses and in their lives. And my ears just perked up, and I had to hear more from this woman. So she really dedicates her life to helping others. And what she works on is stopping that cycle of sabotage and really helping people break free from limitations and self-limiting beliefs. So Bonnie, thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited to talk to you today.
Oh, thank you. It's my honor to be here.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so Bonnie, I'd love to get a little bit into what really sparked your passion to get into this topic with women and people of all walks of life regarding emotional intelligence and how to really overcome limiting beliefs and sabotage in their lives. Looking at you, you look like you're pretty put together. You have a conversation. You're very well spoken, and it seems as though you might have been that way for your entire life. But can you give us a little bit of a background as to what really sparked this passion in you?
Yeah, actually, that's one of my favorite perceptions. When I walk into a room, I'll ask them, what do you see when you look at me? And often people are like, oh, you had that white picket fence, everybody has given you everything your whole life. And I'm like, okay, what else do you see? And, and then I usually make a joke and I'm like, ha, I've fooled you all.
Yeah, because if you guys are looking at the photograph of Bonnie, you can see she's beautiful blonde, just very well put together. And if you hear her speak, she's very well spoken, very educated. So it's I would have that perception as well.
Right. Yeah, and it's fun, and I've really used I use that to really lighten a room, and but the truth is what started me on this journey and what really drove me to helping the people that I do is that was not my reality. I was, before, I graduated even high school, I had been a homeless teen since I was 14. I had been sexually molested, starting from the age of 8 years old onwards. I had been, addicted to drugs and in and out of jail and in and out of rehab. And, so when I started this journey, I was the epitome of, worthlessness, or that self-worthlessness, and that self-hatred and that anger, and I was just consumed with just a victim mindset, and I was so angry and hurt and sad. And so really what drove me on this path, and I think that this is true for a lot of people who, really emerge in this industry, is that I had to walk that path, and I had to walk out of that gutter and, stand up and dust myself off and do the work to free my mind, to free myself, to learn to fall in love with this beautiful woman that is the woman that you see looking at today. And, that's really what, got me into this career.
Awesome. Yeah, so that is a beautiful story. And what I love that you said is really two things. That one, you had to do the work, and two, that you had to fall in love with yourself. And one of the reasons why I brought you on to the summit is because in my practice, I work with a lot of moms who really want to improve their health. They really want to lose that weight. They really want more energy or to find love. And what's holding them back is not the knowledge of what to eat, and not the knowledge of how to work out or take care of their skincare or any of that. A lot of it is those self-limiting beliefs, that the fact that they don't really love or respect themselves. So I'd love for you to get into a little bit of how, why are those things, why do we have those beliefs, and why is it true more for women than men? I know women are a little bit more negative on themselves, especially moms. And then maybe what some of the things we can do later on we can talk about some of the things we could do to, what that work is that you're talking about, to overcome that and to learn to love ourselves. So, so let's first talk about how they're formed.
Perfect. Well, the limiting beliefs can come from a multitude of directions. I really want to make sure that people know that, how your mind, just even neurologically, we have to really understand that how your brain is wired, how we perceive our attachment to words, our relationship to words, how we interpret different things. Neurologically, I, often joke that you're an endangered species. So you really have to recognize that there's not going to ever be one answer that fits them all or one path that fits them all, but there is always information that will lead you down a path to identifying, what in your, how your brain is connected to these limitations and how you are relating to them and why you're holding on to them. So I really want to make sure to start with that disclaimer because, it's important with being emotionally intelligent for, everyone who's listening to realize that, it's about mastering yourself and really understanding how these things relate. So I will talk about, 3 main ones that I think are, big ones that I know that myself and, a lot of my mommy friends and my girlfriends, really struggle with. So I'll share those 3 common, but I wanted to start with that disclaimer.
Okay, yeah, that's so true. It's so individualized. It all depends on experiences we had as very young children and what we were exposed to in the environment. So, I could totally get that.
Yeah. So one of the big ones, though, and I think that this one I hear more often than not, and I'm sure you can connect with this, is that, we become fixated on how we used to look versus appreciating change.
Yes. Oh, my God, moms out there. Who of you has not had the thought go through your head? Because we have our body in our life and we have that after baby body in life. And I'm guilty in the same. I did the same thing. I fixated when I first had my son. At this time when I was supposed to be overjoyed with elated with happiness because I had this beautiful, healthy baby, I was finding myself feeling slightly a little bit depressed about how my body felt.
Yeah. And so we hone in on these changes, right? And, of course, there's the negative elements, the negative changes, whether it's the stretch marks or something jiggling that didn't used to jiggle or, we have, cellulite in areas that have never been there before. And, so we become fixated on that and we're looking at old pictures or how we used to be and we begin to, get lost in this fantasy. And so then we begin to shame the new body and we begin to shame ourselves and we judge and we criticize and we try to force ourselves to go back into who we used to be when that might not ever be possible. And there's this great quote, and actually Plato said this, and he says that the only constant is change. And, for us to really remove this limitation and really move beyond this and overcome it is that we have to recognize that your body will constantly be changing, just as your environment is constantly changing. And so my big tip for this limiting belief is to stop trying to go backwards and to start looking forward. Stop fantasizing on who you used to be and start thinking about who you can be.
That is powerful. If you really stop to think about that, because that doesn't mean that you have to settle for being out of shape or being uncomfortable in your own skin. It just means that looking forward to the future, to the things that you can positively do in your life, and to, I always tell my patients to really concentrate on nourishing your body and giving it what it needs instead of concentrating on what you can't have and what you're taking away.
Exactly.
So that it's always living in the more positive, abundant mindset. I love that. That's a great tip.
Yeah, so that's a big one. I hear more often than not, and I assume that you did as well, because I know that one comes up. One of the second big limitations, and this is the second one that usually comes up, is that we place a lot of our self-worth or our self-esteem on how we look or looked, in this case, what we have or what we accomplish. So our self-worth and our self-esteem is dependent on things outside of us. And so this is another one of those huge limiting belief factors that are going to completely sabotage your happiness, your joy, your self-esteem, your confidence, right? I mean, it really kind of just pummels you down because, if just like, that only constant is change, well, being on a high, being successful, being super fit and being super skinny isn't always going to last, right? I mean, life ebbs and flows. It has these ups and it has these downs. And sometimes we're making a lot of money, sometimes we're making it just by, and sometimes we are, on cloud nine, and sometimes we're just kind of in the gutter. And, when we place our self-worth and our self-esteem on those highs, on those accomplishments, it will constantly fail you.
It's interesting because I think the way our society is set up, when you grow up as a child and you're told to get good grades so then you can get into a good college, so then you can get a good job and buy a nice house. And so those are all like goals that lead to this feeling or this kind of mentality of equating your identity and your self-worth to this like success model that we all buy into. And it's really interesting because a few years ago, and people know my story, my husband and I both quit our jobs and started traveling because that's what we wanted to do. And it was really, that was the time we felt most free and most happy. And that was the one time in our life when we didn't really identify with our jobs or our income. And so it's true. It's proof that it's true. It's really hard to do in our modern society when everyone's kind of, evaluating you by what kind of car you drive, what kind of house you live in.
Exactly. I often joke, I mean, my girlfriends, I have a very successful business and I could, afford any vehicle that I choose. And my girlfriends, will often tease me because I elect to choose to drive a Prius. And they often, will tease me. They're like, Bonnie, you're like, why are you driving this car? You should be driving a Mercedes and a Lexus. And I said, and I come from this place now, and this never used to be true for me because I used to have to drive those cars because, again, part of my worth came from having that Mercedes or came from having that BMW. And now I will be very authentic with them. And I'm like, I don't need that to know that I'm good enough.
Right. That's huge. Even for moms, like for children, like when children are playing sports and if they won, that doesn't make the game more fun than if they just played. So I think having that status of, being the winner, we try to teach this to our kids, and it makes sense when I'm talking about to you guys about doing it for your children because there's not a mom out there who wouldn't agree with me when I say the kids will have just as much fun whether they win or whether they lose. It's more important that they have fun. However, when we transfer that to ourselves, I think it's a little harder to really make sense in our little heads. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and then when we're putting all of this, all of our worth and our self-esteem on these things outside of us, whether it's our appearances or what we accomplish, what we have, or our children's success, or, we get sucked into a comparison trap very easily. And so when you get into that cycle, right, that's a cycle of self-sabotage that's guaranteed to lead to heartache. You're always going to be keeping up with the Joneses, and, your looks will never be enough, and you're always going to be buying into this next product and this next product and this next thing and this next thing because you're constantly trying to find a solution or a fix for something that really needs to stop looking outside of you and start to look inside of you.
So how, for a person who's listening, they know they're caught up in this. They know that they're just on this never-ending climb to get the next thing because they're trying to keep up or they're trying to maintain their status, their image, because they believe that that's what makes them happy. How do you start stepping down off that ladder to stop climbing?
Two parts to that. The first one is to really admit that you're on that, and it's going to show up when you are, you can't fail at something, or you're afraid of what people are going to see or think about you. And so, you'll change your outfit 10 times before you walk out of your closet, and, just really recognize where that energy is coming from. That insight to that acknowledgement is really that first step. And then when you do realize that you're kind of sucked into that, is to shift gears. And I kind of alluded to this a moment ago where, stop looking outside of yourself and start reflecting inside of you. And, begin to love and appreciate your strengths, your positive qualities, and your abilities. Because, again, self-esteem and self-worth is an inner job, not an outer job. And when we can begin to look within us and really say, who am I? Who am I more than what I have or do or look? Is that we can begin to recognize that you're a fantastic friend. You're loyal and you're patient. You are loving and you are a good person. Who wouldn't want to see you and be with you? And we can begin to appreciate
huge. That is so huge, but I know moms listening, I know that you guys are having difficulty with this right here. And I can see it. I see it in my patients that when Bonnie says that you shouldn't worry about how you look or what you have, it's easier said than done. But I love that she gave you the examples of really finding those qualities in yourself that you do love, like being a great friend, being a great listener, being a loving person, because we look for those in our children. Again, I'm going to bring this back to the kids. If your son or daughter is not wearing like the snazziest outfit, doesn't matter. Of course not, because they have a beautiful smile. You love their eyes. You love their laughs. You love the way they sing and when they run. Yeah. And that's really the way you're showing compassion for your children is really how you need to show compassion for yourself if you're going to have your best life. So I love that this tip on how to get around that, because
and I think this is quite difficult.
Yes, I think that it might be one of the most difficult things as women in this environment, in this culture, to really master.
Yeah. And I always say, I love putting my best foot forward. So don't get me wrong. Like, I love, looking pretty and looking cute. But now the difference is, though, the energy is different as I step out. It's not that I need you to see me looking good anymore. It's that I do this because I love just looking good for me. So it's the energy of it is different.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like, it's okay. I'm not saying don't wear makeup, but what we're saying is, like, let the makeup really appreciate your natural beauty while you're applying the makeup to enhance it. Like, that's what it's about. Like, that outfit looks awesome on your body. Like, that's what you have to think about, not, oh, well, this outfit doesn't fit me. Then that's going to be negative. Like, really look for the positive. I think that this topic it's definitely hard for people to really wrap their minds around until I think you start doing it, until you start taking those steps and seeing how it makes you feel.
Right. And then if you want to take it a step further, is that when you really kind of start connecting to those strengths and those positive adversity, those abilities and qualities, is I say now take a look at yourself in the mirror. And you may have heard of mirror work before, but this can be even more challenging. So it's taking yourself a step further. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, often we go to what I call eye-to-eye combat. Is that when we're looking at ourselves in the mirror, we immediately start attacking, the new wrinkles or the new gray hair or the fact that, we have, our black spots under our eyes or whatever it is. And so this is eye-to-eye combat where we're just like beating ourselves up, and I say if you can challenge yourself to go to eye-to-eye contact. Now, the contact is where, there's an emotional connection that is made when we connect with humans for 15 seconds just with that eye-to-eye contact. That's why a lot of times we break eye contact. And when we apply that same, we can make an emotional connection to ourselves, but just really looking at our eyes and really looking into ourselves for a moment and then appreciating those qualities and attributes and really saying, you're a wonderful person. You are such a good friend and a good mother. You're so loyal. I'm proud of you. You're beautiful. And that is going to take what you're saying more than just hearing, and it's going to take an emotional connection to it, and it's really going to ground that into your heart and into your body. And that's a beautiful thing.
That's beautiful. I love that tip. I actually haven't heard anyone talk about it in that way with an emotional connection, so I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a good one. So if that's another one of those limiting beliefs, then, as I mentioned earlier, I have one more if you're ready for it.
Oh, yes. Let's go for it.
All right, so the last one is, when we get sucked into this mindset of have to, must, or need to. So when we think about, the changes we want to make, so this one's going to kind of piggyback on the first one. When we think about the changes, losing the weight or going on a diet or eating healthier or, whatever it is, we feel that we have to do these. be must go to the gym or I need to go on this diet. Now just hear the words. That is powerlessness.
Yeah.
It's the removal of choice. And so it's a disempowering way to talk about change. It's a disempowering way to talk about what you want to create. And when you have that powerlessness or that lack of enthusiasm behind that change you want to create, you are almost guaranteed to fail.
Yeah,
I can need to do this.
I can most directly relate that to keep someone trying to go on a new diet, or someone who finds out that they have food sensitivities and they really, for their better health, should be avoiding those. And so you're right. If you tell yourself you can't have that, you must avoid it, you have to eat a certain way, then it's much harder to do than if you really tell yourself, I like to eat these foods because they make my body feel good, and I prefer not to have that food because it makes me feel uncomfortable, it makes my stomach bloat. And so I think that is a phenomenal way to look at really anything in your life. You can apply it to food, but you can apply it to pretty much anything. Yeah.
Yeah. And you really want to change the language. And so this is that tip that connects with it. And you want to, pull your power back, is recognize that you do have a choice in this. You don't have to do anything. And when you choose to do something, it's an election, it's a decision. It's saying that this is a part of something that I am creating, and I am actively engaged in creating this. And so it pulls the power back within you, and just that subtle shift in the language will empower and motivate and inspire you to really do the things that maybe aren't necessarily the sexiest or most fun thing in your life to do, but you feel engaged or a participant versus you dragging your feet to go to the gym or dragging your feet to eat those carrots or, eliminating whatever it is from your diet. You're like, no, I get to do this. I choose this. I want this. I can do this.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And we use it. I mean, you moms, you all use it with your children. You all use it with your children, right? So you know this deep down. But I know a lot of times applying things to ourselves, it's harder to see. It's harder to step outside of ourselves and look and see why we're doing things, because we are the ones that have that, that self-limiting beliefs in our head. So that with our kids, a lot of times you'll get them involved in the kitchen, or you'll have them pick out a vegetable because you want them to eat their vegetables, but you're empowering them, giving them the power by letting them choose. And so I think that's what Bonnie's talking about, is like giving that power back to yourself.
Right. And that's going to, again, all of these things are going to start, putting you back in alignment with, loving yourself. And having self-esteem really is about having, self-confidence. And that self-confidence is coming from, not being in indecision or in doubt or fear. It's really recognizing that fear and doubt and indecision are there. Those are options, but it's electing to do something different, and it's stepping into a different energy, and it's really beginning to, shift attention away from what's wrong with you, because the reality is all of us have areas that we want to fix, no matter how, good you are, are being, or how, you've been so good on your diet and so good on your, with your schedule, and you're super motivated, but there's still things, of course, all of us need to change. And so it's about taking the energy away from that and putting it into this area where you're building yourself up.
Yeah, because nobody is perfect, and sometimes it's easy to kind of get that opinion that you think all your friends or their lives are perfect because of social media, where everyone gets like the best snapshot of their life. But that's kind of one of the reasons why I put together these summits, is bringing people on to talk about, share their experiences and share their stories, and really you can see from the guests I have on and from Bonnie's story that no one's perfect. We're not perfect, and it'd be boring, I think, if we all were perfect. So it's always a work in progress, and I love that all these steps, it really leads back to having confidence, feeling empowered, and ultimately being happy.
Yeah, it's moving back into this accepting yourself. And I say, this is one of my favorite affirmations that, people hear me say often. And I say, I'm perfectly imperfect, and I love and accept myself just as I am. It's really just about, being, recognizing that I'm imperfect, and that's a part of being human. I, too, have areas in my life that I'm still working on improving, and that, there's certain things about myself I'm like, that's not ideal, but you know what? I love that because that's a part of who I am. And it's about accepting those weaknesses, but not settling for those weaknesses. And, realizing that, I can put all of my attention into changing this, but really asking myself, is it worth it? And then, being conscious about where I'm electing to use my energy and put my attention, but also not allowing to unconsciously allow my energy to get sucked up with all of these limiting beliefs and these insecurities and these doubts, because trust me, they are vampires and they will suck you dry if you do not challenge and look at and be willing to move beyond them.
And this is a practice. I mean, this is something that you kind of implement over time. I believe, it's not like you're going to take these 3 steps and then you're going to do them today and you're going to be perfect from now on.
Nope.
It's definitely a practice. I know for myself, it takes time. It takes time to change any habit that we have. And so, I started doing a gratitude journal at night, which really helped me to really recognize those things that I love about myself and love about my life, because, unless you really take the time to really sit down and write it down and think about those things, it's easy for life to get away from you, especially as a busy mom, where you just don't take that time out to appreciate. And so but that's definitely a process. I've had to do it for a very long time in order to start reaping the benefits. I mean, you will get a little bit of a boost and a benefit right away just by implementing any of these 3, even just starting with 1. But do you find it takes a little bit of time for people to really get it grounded into their brains and part of their psyche and who they are?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any habit, right? I mean, we get into thinking ruts where, we have, just accepted a certain way of thinking that is limiting us, is holding us back, is really, hindering us. And so when we begin to do that self-evaluation, it's just like changing any habit. I mean, it really takes consistency. It takes time. It takes patience. And one of my favorite things, it takes you being willing to be compassionate with yourself, to move beyond it. Because otherwise what will happen is that you begin to make this change is then you start judging yourself because it's not fast enough, it's not good enough, it's not enough. And then you quickly cycle back to that old rut. And you're just going to stay there, and then you start moving closer to that change, and then boom, you sabotage backwards because, you just start shaming or blaming or complaining, and it just gets you stuck. So, it's just like any habit. It takes that time. It takes your willingness to reserve a little bit of your day for you and your self-reflection, your personal development time. And it is, like you said, too easy. As mothers, or as as people who are self-employed, or as anyone who's busy. I mean, life will take over. I mean, that subconscious mind goes on autopilot, and we have to bring that consciousness back and really say, okay, wait a minute, do these habits serve me, or do I need to change them? And if we choose to change, that takes at least 21 days, about 3 weeks of continuous, constant, mindful practice to transform.
Yeah, and I love that this leads into your free gift that you're offering for everybody, that they could start really implementing this into their day without second guessing whether they're doing enough or too much. You actually put together a 21-day, you call it emotional detox, for our listeners, so that they can actually go through this with your guidance and really go through the system in their own time themselves. Can you tell us a little bit more about that program that you're offering for free for listeners?
Yeah. I absolutely love this product. So it is called the 21-Day Emotional Detox, and it's 21 days of 10-minute or less practices. And the reason why I love this is because I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're similar to the two of us, and we are constantly on the go, right? I don't have time to spend 2 hours a day trying to, change or better myself. Sometimes I can only give a few moments or a few minutes. And so when I created this product, it really was about, okay, what is something that we can do that'll only take about 10 minutes every day that is going to, emotionally detox, like remove the mental garbage that has been blocking and standing in your way, to enhance your mindfulness training, right? So that awareness, that consciousness. And then also ultimately, put you back in this place of re-energizing your mental and emotional status, where you feel clean, clear, and back in emotional, mental control. And that really is what boosts your self-worth and your self-esteem. And so that's why we created this product.
Awesome. So, and the link to that free gift is right next to the interview, so you guys can just go ahead and click on it, and then you will be you'll have the instructions to go ahead and download that for yourself. So thank you so much, Bonnie. This has been just a really an epic conversation and one that really needs to be had. So if you guys want to even listen to this episode again, the replay is available on the experts page, so you will be able to access this. This is something that, for me, I always feel like I need to hear it twice in order to really get involved and really get the message, because it's such a deep and personal message, and it's really the foundation for everything in your life. So, Bonnie, thank you so much for sharing all your expertise and your story. It's been just my pleasure having you.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for listening today. We'll be back tomorrow with another great episode. So stay happy, stay healthy, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you got a lot of value out of this. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It's about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It's about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can better take care of your family, and being a shining example, a role model, if you will, for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews during the summit, and be sure. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you received a lot of value out of this interview. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity that you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It is about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It is about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can take better care of your family and be a shining example, a role model for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life that you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews, and be sure to check out all the resources on my website, metabolicmama.com. Until next time, wishing you a happy, healthy, hot day. Take care, mamas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you got a lot of value out of this. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It's about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It's about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can better take care of your family, and being a shining example, a role model, if you will, for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews during the summit and be sure. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you received a lot of value out of this interview. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity that you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It is about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It is about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can take better care of your family and be a shining example, a role model for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life that you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews and be sure to check out all the resources on my website, metabolicmama.com. Until next time, wishing you a happy, healthy, hot day. Take care, mamas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you got a lot of value out of this. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It's about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It's about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can better take care of your family and being a shining example, a role model, if you will, for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews during the summit and be sure. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you received a lot of value out of this interview. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity that you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It is about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It is about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can take better care of your family and be a shining example, a role model for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life that you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews and be sure to check out all the resources on my website, metabolicmama.com. Until next time, wishing you a happy, healthy, hot day. Take care, mamas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you received a lot of value out of this interview. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity that you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It is about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It is about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can take better care of your family and be a shining example, a role model for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life that you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews and be sure to check out all the resources on my website, metabolicmama.com. Until next time, wishing you a happy, healthy, hot day. Take care, mamas.